I was talking to Gregg last night, I noticed that he sounded horribly sick. And he says he feels fine, but he's still coughing and wheezing and hacking. So I'm making him wear the mask to keep us all safe, all of us, not just the people in the studio, people listening to this podcast now.
Let's go to Los Angeles, where last week the Rams beat the Seahawks, but probably the most noteworthy thing from the game was that two different players, Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks and Brandon Cooks of the Rams, went out of their way to give a football to Floyd Mayweather after scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather was in the front row in the end zone, and a couple teams came and gave him footballs. One person from each team scored a touchdown and gave him the football.
Cooks had to go kind of track the ball down so he could get it and give it to Floyd.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he had to run. Like, he spiked it and then was like, I want to give it to him anyway. It was pretty cool. I like that Gregg actually tweeted about this, and I think the actual tweet was giving Floyd Mayweather the football in the end zone is the touchdown TD celebration of the year. I know because I liked the tweet, and then you deleted it. Probably rightly so.
I almost never delete any tweets, but it felt like I was trying to, kind of make fun of the situation, but the nuance maybe would have been lost on some of the people. It didn't seem worth it.
I don't know why anyone's surprised. You know what I mean? You got two teams playing football. And then you've got one of the biggest domestic violence abusers in the world that we know of sitting in the front row. You got to get him the ball. You got to get him involved. Do both teams have domestic abusers on them? Of course they do. And yeah, they're playing their little hearts out, giving 110%. But when you got Floyd beat up every woman he's ever dated, Mayweather, sitting in the front row, you got to get him the ball. You got to feed him the ball. Either team giving them the ball. I think that's what the NFL is all about, especially in November. Gregg, what do you have to say about that?
I don't want to say anything about that. So your theory here is that even in a field of athletes and domestic abusers, you're saying Floyd Mayweather stands apart.
I'm saying the NFL, more than any other league, values certain qualities in its athletes. And domestic abuse certainly seems to be up near the top of the list.
They've been trying to get that out.
I'm surprised they don't make it part of the combine. The way the league is going. So when you see Floyd Mayweather, you gotta get him the damn ball, and that's what they did. Gregg, you chickened out.
By the way, am I a little more menacing with this mask on? You can't see me smile as
Bane.
I deliver these things.
You're like Bane.
So listeners to the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project,
JVP.
Junior Vice President,
will know that last week we really created a stir with our talk about the migrant caravan. And, the election happened, and it's been out of the news. But you know what? The migrant caravan, it's still heading north.
Hasn't even slowed down.
No, it's opting for a safer, slightly different route now. There was an update on Tuesday. But we've been getting a lot of questions about it.
But if anything, I think the caravan sped up. Do you know what I mean? They know we've been talking about them. And there were a lot of critics last week saying we shouldn't have talked about this. But listen, even though the election's over and people aren't talking about it, we're going to dig deep. And we're going to keep talking about the caravan every single episode until some of them are in our government, until they reach that level. We talked about them if they could play in the NFL last week, and you were saying they would get crushed by other teams. And I think a lot of that was your political bias. But now that you've kind of done a little deeper digging into the caravan, what are the chances that the NFL would expand to include the caravan as a team? Because think about it, they were going to have a game in Mexico City,
Cancel
They could be the Mexico City Caravan, and which is a better name than a lot of teams have. And
they could turn around. I mean, you're right. I feel like the NFL, after taking this game, it was supposed to be in Mexico City. The field wasn't ready, so now they're moving it to Los Angeles. They need to make it up to that market, turn the caravan around, and start getting ready for 2019. Does anyone
else in the NFL think it's hilarious that the game was canceled due to landscaping problems? No one made a joke about that? That's the issue? Guys, get it together down there. I think that, the NFL's about money, but I bet if you get these 4,000 migrants together, turn them upside down, shake them, they got to have some money on them. Pull that money together, you can buy yourself an NFL team. I mean, they could be like the Green Bay Packers, only they own themselves. It's not just the city that owns the team. The Caravan owns its own team. And I've sent some scouts out there to get some 40 times, see what kind of vertical leap they got. But I think the Caravan, I think they're a playoff team next year.
I mean, it's a stretch. But the NFL is all about merchandising. That's why every team has so many different types of uniforms.
What would the mascot be for the Caravan?
Maybe just an actual caravan.
I would
like some heads out the side.
You could not have used your imagination less to come up with the mascot for the Caravan than you just did
I think it would be great, though.
I think a crying baby. A crying baby would be the mascot. Almost like, actually, is that the mascot of the New Orleans Pelicans?
Do they have the king cake baby?
The king cake baby? Yeah, it would be like that, only darker. I think that would be a good, like the Huddle Buddy. You're telling me you wouldn't buy the Mexico City Caravan's Huddle Buddy?
The NFL's been looking for like a way to do kind of a developmental league ever since NFL Europe has been gone.
I didn't even know it was gone.
It's been gone for 20 years now.
Okay.
So you mentioned 4,000 people. I mean, that they could maybe make a caravan league unto its own.
If not just 4,000 people, 4,000 athletes in their prime. That's what I've been told. I just think the NFL is going to get bigger and better, and this Caravan is the answer to almost all the problems. And listen, let me tell you something else. I've been looking at the comments on the videos, people getting upset
On
about
YouTube,
what we were saying.
we have videos.
Yeah, there's videos on YouTube of parts of the podcast. A lot of very upset people, people yelling at me for getting involved in politics. Let me say this without involving politics whatsoever. Zero politics, no red, no blue, no anything. If you were afraid of the Caravan, you were small. If you were afraid of immigrants, you were small. If you were afraid of women, if you were a misogynist, you were small. If you were afraid of black people, you were a small person and you were scared. Don't be small. America is not small. Be big like me. I weigh a fucking ton. And I'm not threatened or scared of any Caravan or any woman or any black person or even Gregg's wife. None of them.